Welcome back to the deep dive. Today, we are tackling a subject that, well, it usually inspires a very specific, very intense kind of dread.
Oh, yeah.
It's that feeling you get when you're staring at a blinking cursor, knowing you have to somehow summarize your entire human existence onto a single piece of paper.
hmm
And I want to start with a quote from our source material today that I think just captures this feeling perfectly. The author writes, "On the list of things you want to do in life, fixing your resume is right up there with hitting yourself in the head with a hammer."
It's a visceral image, isn't it?
Yeah.
But it's so painfully accurate.
It really is. I think most people would genuinely rather do their taxes or go to the dentist or clean out the gutters than sit down and update their resume.
It's emotional work. You're confronting your past, your successes, your failures. It's,
Yeah,
it's a lot.
it is a lot. But here's the thing, and this is why we are doing this deep dive today. The stakes are incredibly high. We are looking at a stack of research and insights from the book Knock 'em Dead Resumes by Martin Yate. And the central premise here is, well, it's terrifyingly simple. Your resume is the most financially important document you will ever own.
That is a bold claim.
Yeah.
But when you break it down, it absolutely holds up. Think about it. When that one document works,
You work.
you work.
Yeah.
You have income, you have stability, you have a future, you can pay your mortgage, you can plan for retirement. But when it doesn't work,
You don't.
you don't. It is the gatekeeper to your entire livelihood. It is literally the key to the door of your financial survival. There's no way around it.
Exactly. And the problem is, most of us are using a broken key. We are trying to open a high-tech lock with something we carved out of wood. We treat the resume like a biography or a nostalgic trip down memory lane.
And a list of chores.
A list of chores, that's perfect, duties included. We throw it into these black hole databases and just, pray someone sees it. But the facts of life, as Yate calls them, are brutal.
They really are.
Yeah.
And we have to look at the numbers and the reality of the hiring process because it's not what most people think it is. Recruiters are just, they're overwhelmed.
Totally swamped.
They aren't reading your resume like a novel. They are not sitting there with a cup of tea, appreciating the nuance of your career journey. They are scanning it.
Right.
And the source material says they spend anywhere from 5 to 5 seconds on that initial scan.
5 seconds. I spent longer choosing a sandwich at the deli. I mean, that's insane.
Precisely. And in that 5 seconds, if you haven't hooked them, if something hasn't jumped off the page, you're gone.
Wow.
You are in the digital trash folder. And it's not just about the recruiters. We have to talk about the hiring managers. There's this myth that managers love hiring people.
Right, that they enjoy the process.
I don't. They hate it.
Why? Because it takes them away from their actual job.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
They are busy. They have their own deadlines, their own pressures. They have a problem, a vacancy that is actively slowing them down.
Yeah.
A missing team member means missed deadlines. It means lost revenue. It means overworked staff who are getting burned out.
So they're in pain.
They're in pain. They just want someone, anyone, to solve that problem so they can get back to their real work. They're looking for a solution, not a new best friend or a fascinating life story. They want a problem solver.
Okay, so our mission today is to flip the script. We are going to move from having what the source calls a hodgepodge resume that just gets deleted to a killer resume that actually survives that database purge and grabs a human by the lapels. We are going to treat this deep dive as a workshop. By the end of this hour, we want you to have a completely different view of what this document is.
And to do that, we have to stop thinking like employees. We have to start thinking like business owners.
Right. This is the fundamental shift.
Yeah.
We need to stop seeing ourselves as individuals looking for a paycheck.
And to seeing ourselves as a corporation.
This is the Me Inc. concept.
This is Me Inc. And I know that sounds a bit buzzwordy, maybe a bit corporate speak, but the source material takes it very, very seriously. And frankly, so should we. It's a game changer.
Okay, let's unpack this. Me Inc. What does that actually mean for the listener who's, maybe feeling a bit lost right now?
It's a survival strategy. It's a mindset for the modern economy. The old social contract it's broken.
You mean the idea that you work for a company for 40 years and get a gold watch?
That whole thing. You work for IBM your whole life. They give you a pension, a nice farewell party. That is largely a thing of the past. Corporate loyalty to employees is rare. You cannot rely on a company to manage your career for you anymore. You have to take control. You are a financial entity. You are Me Incorporated.
So I am the CEO of my own life.
You are the CEO, you're the CFO, and sometimes you're the janitor. You are a corporation with products, which are your skills and services, which is your labor. And you are selling these to a customer.
The
The employer. And like any corporation, you have to have departments. This analogy is so powerful if you really lean into it.
I love this. Okay, so if I'm me, Inc., what are my departments? Lay them out for me.
Okay, well, first and most important, you have research and development, R&D. That's your skill building.
Okay.
Are you learning new software? Are you keeping up with industry trends? Are you getting that certification that everyone's talking about? That's R&D. If Apple stopped doing R&D, they'd be out of business in 5 years. The same applies to you.
That's a pretty scary thought. If you aren't learning, your product, your skills is becoming obsolete.
Exactly. Your market value is depreciating every day you're not in R&D. Then you have your marketing department.
Which is the resume.
That is your resume. It's the brochure you send out to the world to generate leads. It's your website, your LinkedIn profile. It's how you tell your story.
And if the marketing is bad?
If the brochure is bad, the sales department never even gets a meeting. And that's the third piece, sales. That's the job interview. That's where you actually close the deal and, importantly, negotiate the price of your salary.
That puts a tremendous amount of pressure on the marketing department, on the resume. If that first step fails, nothing else matters.
It does.
Yeah.
But it also clarifies things, right? It takes the emotion out of it. If you are a business, the first rule is you need to understand your customer. And in this transaction, the customer is the employer.
And the source material makes a really, really interesting distinction here about what that customer actually wants. It talks about the difference between a Swiss Army knife and a human laser.
This is where so many people with the best of intentions go completely wrong. We have all done it.
Oh, absolutely.
We write a resume that lists every single thing we have ever done. We think, look how versatile I am. I can do accounting, and I can plan parties, and I know how to fix the printer, and I once drove a forklift for a summer job. We are desperately trying to be the Swiss Army knife.
Because we think more is better. We think, if I list everything, surely one of these things will appeal to them. It feels safer.
Exactly. It comes from a place of insecurity. We want to cast the widest net possible because we're afraid of missing an opportunity. But the employer, the customer, they don't want a tool that does 20 things moderately well. They have a specific acute pain point. They want a laser. They want someone who can focus intense energy and skill on their one specific problem and obliterate it.
That makes so much sense. If I have a brain tumor, I don't want a family doctor who is also pretty good at plumbing and landscape gardening.
Right.
I want a neurosurgeon who does nothing but brain surgery all day, every day.
Perfect example. The neurosurgeon is the human laser. The handyman is the Swiss Army knife. The market pays an enormous premium for lasers. If you try to be everything to everyone, you end up being nothing to anyone. You dilute your brand.
That is a great point. And it brings us directly to the profit motive. I think this is the harsh reality check of the book. It says employers really only hire for 3 reasons. And none of them are because you seem like a nice person.
Money, money, and time. That's it.
That's it.
It sounds cold, I know. We like to think about culture and passion and mission statements. And look, those things matter for employee retention. But for hiring, for creating a role in the first place, an employer hires you to do one of 3 things: make money, or save time, which increases productivity. And ultimately, guess what?
Saves money.
Saves money. It all comes back to the bottom line.
It is so transactional.
It is. But understanding that is empowering. It's not depressing. It's clarifying. It means every job, no matter what the title is, from janitor to CEO, is fundamentally about problem solving. You are there to identify problems, prevent problems, or solve problems.
And if you aren't doing one of those 3 things...
You are not an asset. You're an expense. And what do companies do with expenses when times get tough?
They cut them. First thing to go.
Exactly. So you have to frame your entire resume, every single bullet point, around this profit motive.
Okay, let's look at some examples to make this concrete. If I'm a sales director, it's easy. I make money. My resume is full of numbers. But what if I'm, I don't know, a graphic designer?
You aren't just making pretty pictures. You are solving the problem of poor brand recognition to attract more customers and make the company money. Or you're designing a user interface that reduces customer service calls, which saves the company money.
Okay, what about an administrative assistant?
You are not just answering phones and scheduling meetings. You are saving the executives time so they can focus on high-level strategy, which makes the company money. Or you are organizing the filing system to prevent lost contracts and fines, which saves the company money.
I see.
Once you view your resume through that lens, the lens of how do I make you profitable, everything changes. You stop listing duties and you start listing value.
Okay, so we have the mindset. We are me, Inc. We're a business. We are here to solve problems and make money. We are human lasers, not Swiss Army knives. Now, how do we actually build the document? Because I think a lot of people get the concept, but then they get stuck here. They have the right attitude, but they're still staring at that blank page. The source material says 50% of the success is in the preparation.
Oh, at least. The principle here is simple, and it's a classic in computer science. Garbage in, garbage out.
Right.
If you just sit down and start typing without any research, without any raw materials, you're going to produce garbage.
Yeah.
You're going to produce a generic, ineffective document that sounds like everyone else's. You need to do the homework first. Yate calls this the target job deconstruction, or TJD.
This TJD method, it sounds intense, almost like homework, but it makes so much sense when you break it down. Walk us through the steps.
Okay, so it starts with data collection. You cannot know what the customer wants by guessing. You might think you know what a project manager does, but the market changes, technology changes, priorities change.
So you have to go to the source.
You have to. You need to go out and find 6 to 10 job postings for the one specific job you want. Not just any job, but the target job. Be a laser, remember.
So if I want to be a marketing manager specializing in social media, I find 10 job postings for exactly that.
Exactly that. Go to Indeed, go to LinkedIn, go to the actual company websites, and don't just bookmark them, print them out. Get physical copies.
Okay, so I have a stack of paper. What's step one?
Step 1 is you look at the titles. Maybe you call yourself a marketing manager, but you notice that 7 out of the 10 postings call it a brand activation lead, or a growth hacker, or a content strategist.
Ah, so you learn the language.
You learn the language they are using so you can adopt it as your own. This is crucial for the database search algorithms, the ATS systems. You have to speak their language to get found.
And then we get into the keywords. This is the secret sauce, isn't it? This is the SEO for your career.
It is 100% SEO for your career. Step 3 is identifying those keywords and skills. You take out a highlighter, and you go through those 10 postings. You start counting what requirements show up in all 10.
Those are the non-negotiables.
The absolute must-haves. You have to have those. Then what shows up in 5 of them, 4 of them. You are essentially building a composite sketch of the perfect candidate, reverse engineering their ideal hire from their own data.
So if SEO optimization and Google Analytics appear in 9 out of 10 job postings, that has to be front and center on my resume.
It has to be. Because these repeated words, these nouns and phrases, are the key word that the applicant tracking systems are programmed to find. If your resume doesn't have them, you don't exist to the machine. You could be the best marketer in the world, but if the computer is searching for SEO and you wrote, making websites show up on Google, you are in the trash. You're invisible.
It's that literal.
Is that literal? But the TJD goes deeper than just keywords. This is the part I really love. This is where you get strategic. Step 4 is identify problems.
Okay, so this is where we move from just satisfying the computer to actually impressing the human being on the other side.
Precisely. For every single requirement you identify, every keyword, you have to ask yourself a question. What problems occur in this area?
Give me an example of that. Let's stick with marketing.
Okay, so a requirement is manage social media campaigns. That's a keyword. But the problem behind that keyword is what matters to the hiring manager. What goes wrong with social media campaigns?
Oh, everything. You get negative comments, the engagement is low, the ad spend budget gets wasted on the wrong audience, a post goes viral for the wrong reasons.
Exactly. Those are the pain points. Those are the things that keep the marketing director up at night. So instead of just listing managed social media campaigns on your resume, you are now thinking about the time you handled a PR crisis in the comments section. You're thinking about the A/B test you ran that doubled engagement. You're thinking about the time you reallocated the ad budget and cut customer acquisition cost by 15%.
So I'm preparing my ammunition. I'm finding my stories.
Yes. You identify their likely problems, and then you dig through your own history for the solutions you provided. This gives you the powerful quantified bullet points for your resume and gives you the stories for your interview. You are proving you are a problem solver, not just a keyword stuffer. You are saying, I know what keeps you up at night, and I am the person who knows how to fix it.
I really like the exercise on behavioral profiles in this section of the book. The source material asks you to think of 2 people, the profile of success and the profile of failure.
This is such a great psychological trick to help you understand what employers are really looking for beyond the key words. You visualize the best person you've ever worked with in this type of role. The book gives her a name, Carol Jenkins.
Right, Carol is the superstar, the one everyone wants on their team.
She is. And you ask, what made her so great? It wasn't just that she knew Excel. Maybe she was incredibly analytical, but also a fantastic communicator. She could explain complex data to non-technical people. She was calm under pressure. She anticipated problems before they happened.
She was a team player who lifted everyone else up.
Exactly. That gives you the list of behavioral traits that employers secretly crave. They might not write anticipates problems in the job description, but that's what they're desperate for.
And then there's the flip side, the profile of failure.
Right, the Jack Hartzenberger.
Poor Jack. But we all know a Jack. We've all worked with a Jack.
We absolutely have. Jack is the guy who is passive-aggressive in emails. He's messy, his work is sloppy, he misses deadlines, and then blames the IT department. He's the one who hits reply all to every single company-wide email.
Oh, Jack. Don't be a Jack.
Analyzing Jack tells you exactly what employers fear. Employers are absolutely terrified of hiring a Jack. A bad hire costs an incredible amount of money, it ruins team morale, and it wastes months of time. So your resume needs to subtly signal, in its language and professionalism, I am a Carole and I am definitely not a Jack. It's about projecting those professional values.
There was a really compelling case study in the source material about a woman named Justidi Makube. I think this really illustrates the power of all this preparation.
It does. Justidi's story is the TJD in action. She was a recent graduate, and she was a foreign national, which adds a whole other layer of difficulty because she needed visa sponsorship from a company.
That is a tough hill to climb, especially for a first job.
It is a very tough hill. And her original resume was, well, it was standard. It was a Swiss Army knife. She just listed every coding language she knew, a bunch of generic coursework she'd taken. It was completely unfocused. It just said, I am a student who took some classes.
And what was the result? Was she getting calls?
Zero. Nothing. She was sending resumes into the void, into that black hole we talked about. Then she did the target job deconstruction. She analyzed the postings for the job she wanted. She realized that employers didn't just want a list of languages. They wanted specific deliverables. They wanted to know about human-computer interaction. They wanted to see specific outcomes from projects. They wanted problem solvers.
So she rewrote the whole thing.
From the ground up. She focused on the problems she could solve. She sprinkled in the exact keywords from the job postings. She highlighted specific school projects where she had delivered tangible results. And the result was, it was immediate. She started getting interviews, she got a job, and she even secured the visa sponsorship.
Wow.
That is the power of moving from, here is a list of things I know, to, here is how I can solve your specific problem.
That is incredible. It really highlights that you can have all the skills in the world, but if you don't speak the customer's language, it doesn't matter. You have to translate your skills into their needs.
Exactly. Translation is the key.
And speaking of language, let's talk about the secret language of job postings. This is segment 3 of our dive, and it's about those words we all see and mostly ignore.
This is a favorite topic of mine because it's hiding in plain sight. We often see words like communication, multitasking, or teamwork in job descriptions, and we dismiss them as fluff.
Right, we think, oh, that's just HR boilerplate. Everyone puts that in. It's meaningless.
We think it's meaningless. Everyone says they're a good communicator. It feels like saying, I breathe oxygen, or I am a human being.
Yeah.
But Yate argues, and I completely agree, that these are actually transferable skills, the most valuable currency in the job market. They are the foundational skills that apply across every single profession. And if you understand what they really mean, you can unlock doors.
So let's decode them. Let's start with the big one. Communication. It's not just talking, is it?
Oh, it is far from it. The source material breaks communication down into 4 key areas: verbal, listening, writing, and this is a crucial one for the modern era technological communication.
What does that mean, technological communication?
Can you use the tools? Can you handle Slack, Zoom, Teams, email, Asana, whatever project management software the company uses? Are you coherent and professional in those digital environments? But it also includes what Yate calls supportive skills.
Like grooming and how you present yourself.
Yes. Grooming, social graces, emotional IQ. If you show up to an interview, even a Zoom interview, looking disheveled, you are communicating something negative. If you constantly interrupt people, you are communicating something. If you can't read the room and adjust your tone, you are failing at communication. It's the total package of how you interact with the professional world.
That is a much broader and more useful definition. What about multitasking? I feel like this word has gotten a really bad rap lately. There's all this research saying the human brain can't actually multitask.
And scientifically, that is absolutely true. The myth of multitasking is this idea of jumping around reactively like a headless chicken.
Yeah.
You're writing an email while you're on the phone while you're trying to eat a sandwich. That's not a skill, that's just chaos. That leads to errors.
So what do employers mean when they ask for it? They can't possibly want that.
They don't. When an employer asks for multitasking, what they really mean is organization and prioritization. They mean the ability to handle multiple projects, multiple streams of information without dropping the ball. The source mentions the plan, do, review cycle here, which is a great framework.
Plan, do, review. I like the sound of that.
It's a discipline. At the end of each day, you review what you accomplished. Then you plan the next day. You prioritize your tasks. A tasks are the absolute must-dos. B tasks are the should-dos. C tasks are the could-dos. That is what an employer means when they ask for multitasking. They want to know you have a system to handle the chaos, not that you can do two things at once poorly.
Then there is teamwork. I feel like this is another one where people just say, yeah, I'm a team player. I get along with people.
But true teamwork is so much deeper than that. It's about active cooperation, it's about sharing credit for successes, and crucially, never blaming others for failures. You take collective responsibility. And here's the expert insight from the book that really blew my mind. Leadership is just the advanced form of teamwork.
Really? I usually think of leader and follower as opposites, as two different roles.
They aren't. And that's the secret. You cannot be an effective leader if you aren't an exceptional team player first. Leadership isn't about bossing people around from on high. It's about inspiring others to do more, to be better. It's a combination of communication, critical thinking, and advanced teamwork. If you look at the best CEOs, they are the ultimate team players. They see their job as serving the team.
I also like the definition of creativity in this section. It wasn't about being artistic or, being able to paint.
No, in a business context, creativity isn't about painting a mural in the break room. It's about connecting the dots. It's about seeing patterns behind challenges. It's the ability to realize that a recurring problem in the warehouse isn't a warehouse problem. It's actually being caused by a software issue in the accounting department.
Wow, yeah.
That ability to see the system as a whole and find a novel solution is incredibly valuable. That's business creativity.
And finally, a professional value the book highlights, economy, which is basically being frugal.
This goes right back to the profit motive. Every single employer values someone who treats the company's resources with respect. If you can show that you are frugal, that you make the most of what you have, that you don't waste the budget on frivolous things, you are demonstrating a very high professional value.
It signals that you are on the side of the business.
Yes. It signals that you treat the company's money like it's your own, that you're a good steward of their resources.
So if I managed a project and brought it in under budget, that is a huge selling point that I should absolutely highlight.
Absolutely. Delivered project X 10% under budget, saving the company $50,000 is a fantastic resume bullet point. It sings to a hiring manager's wallet.
Okay, so we have the Mindset Me Inc. We have the raw data from our TJD, and we understand the secret language of these transferable skills. Now we have to actually construct the document. We need to talk about the architecture of a killer resume.
Architecture is exactly the right word. You are building a structure designed to do a specific job. And there are three main blueprints you can use: chronological, functional, and the one that's usually the winner, combination.
Chronological is the classic, right? The one we all know.
Yes. You list your jobs in reverse order, most recent one first. This is the gold standard if you have a steady, linear career path. If you've stayed in the same field and moved up the ladder, junior analyst, senior analyst, this shows your growth perfectly. It's safe, it's familiar, recruiters understand it instantly.
But what if your path hasn't been a straight line? What if you have gaps in your employment? Or what if you are changing careers completely? That's a big one.
That is where the functional resume comes in, and it can be a lifesaver. This format focuses on your skills rather than your timeline. You group your experience by competency, so you'd have a heading like project management or client relationship management rather than by employer.
And this is where we have to talk about the case study of Charles Chalmers. This is the best example of a major career pivot I've ever heard.
It's a perfect, almost unbelievable example. Charles was a high school art teacher. He had been teaching for years. But he had a different dream. He wanted to change careers and become a high-end art gallery curator.
That is a big, big jump.
It's a huge jump into a very exclusive world. Now, if he sent a chronological resume to a museum or a gallery, a recruiter would look at it and say, teacher, 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 pass. We need someone with gallery experience.
Well, he doesn't have the job title history they're looking for. He gets filtered out immediately.
Exactly. So he used a functional resume. He sat down and he deconstructed the deliverables of a curator's job. What does a curator actually do all day? They source art. They design the lighting for exhibitions. They physically hang the pieces. They manage budgets for shows. They organize opening night events.
And he realized, as a teacher running the school art department and putting on the annual student art show, he had done all of those things.
He had done every single one of them. He sourced student art for the shows. He set up the lighting in the school gymnasium for the exhibition. He hung the pieces. He managed the art supply budget. So on his resume, he didn't use the heading art teacher. He used headings like sourcing and acquisition of artwork, exhibition design and installation, and budget and event management.
And under those headings, he described his actual transferable experience.
He proved he could do the job before he had the title. And the result? He got hired to run a blue-chip gallery in a major city. He bypassed the bias against his job title by focusing on the function.
That is absolutely brilliant. But is there a downside to the functional format? Does it have a weakness?
There is, and it's a big one. Recruiters can be suspicious of it. Because it de-emphasizes dates and companies, they sometimes think you're hiding something, like a big gap in employment or that you're a job hopper. They get this feeling of, why doesn't he want to tell me where he worked and when?
So what's the solution? The best of both worlds.
The combination resume. This is the clear winner for the modern database era. It starts with a strong functional section at the top, a profile, a list of core competencies that summarizes your skills and is loaded with keywords for the ATS. But then it follows that with a traditional chronological work history. It gives the database the keywords it craves, and it gives the human recruiter the timeline and the story they trust.
Okay, so we have chosen our format, probably the combination. Now we have to lay it on the page. And we have to talk about that 6-second scan again. The visual hierarchy, where the eye goes, it really matters.
It matters immensely. You have 6 seconds. You have to be the director of the recruiter's eye. You use bold headlines. You use white space. You use a clean, logical flow. You cannot bury the lead.
The source material uses the teeth whitening story here, which I found hilarious, but also really, really instructive.
It's a classic simple mistake that cost people jobs. Yate was working with a dental assistant. On her resume, she had a list of her skills in a column. The very first item on the list was teeth whitening, and the very last item was four-handed dentistry.
Okay, for those of us who aren't in the dental field, what is the difference in value between those two skills?
It's massive. Teeth whitening is a commodity skill. You can teach almost anyone to do it in a few hours. It's easy, it's low value. Four-handed dentistry, on the other hand, is a high-level complex surgical assistance skill. It requires anticipation, speed, and incredible precision. It's what pays the big bucks. It's a rare and valuable skill.
But because she listed whitening first.
That's what the recruiter saw in that 6-second scan. They saw teeth whitening, and their brain immediately put her in the entry-level, low-skill bucket. She was drastically underselling herself with a simple formatting choice.
So what did they do? Just flip it?
They just flipped the list. They put the high-value, hard-to-find skill, four-handed dentistry at the very top, but the commodity skills at the bottom. It's a simple change, but it completely reframes the perception of your value in an instant.
It's all about putting your best, most valuable foot forward. Okay, let's build this thing from the top down. We start with contact info. What are the modern rules here?
Keep it clean and simple. Name, phone number, email, and a link to your LinkedIn profile. That's it.
No street address.
You do not need your full street address anymore. There are privacy concerns, and frankly, no one is mailing you anything. They just need to know your city and state, maybe for relocation purposes.
And we talked about the email address. I have to bring up the example from the book, binkypoo@hotmail.com.
Please no. I am begging you, if you're listening to this, if your email is partyanimal99 or sexykitten42 from back in the day, go to Gmail right now and create a new one.
It sounds funny, but people actually do this. They forget.
They do, and it screams amateur. It screams, I don't understand professional norms. Get a professional email, first name, last name @gmail.com. It's free. And hyperlink it in the document. Make it easy for them to click and contact you. Don't add friction.
Okay, next up, right under the name, is the target job title. This seems to be something that the source says 80% of people miss.
It is the single biggest, easiest, most impactful missed opportunity on a resume. Right under your name, centered on the page, in bold, put the title of the job you want, not the job you have, but the job you are applying for.
It's like the title of a book, right?
It's exactly like the title of a book. If I pick up a book and it has no title on the cover, I don't know if it's a cookbook or a thriller. I have to open it and read the first chapter to figure it out. Recruiters do not have time to read the first chapter. If your resume doesn't say Senior Financial Analyst right at the top, the recruiter has to read through your job history and guess what you're trying to be. Don't make them guess. Tell the database and the human exactly what you are.
And right under that, the book suggests a brand statement.
This is a short, punchy phrase. Your personal tagline. The example given is pharmaceutical sales, poised to outperform, repeating records of achievement. It sets a powerful, high-energy tone from the very first second.
Then we get to the section that replaces the old school objective. We're swapping that for a performance profile.
This is a critical change in perspective. An objective statement is all about you. Objective. To find a challenging role where I can grow my skills.
It's selfish.
It's totally selfish. A performance profile flips it. It's all about them. It says, here is what I bring to you. It's a 3 to 5 sentence summary of your most relevant skills, heavily loaded with those keywords we found in our TJD. It's your elevator pitch in text form.
Moving down the page, we have the core competencies section. This is described as an electronic business card.
This section is almost purely for the database and for that quick human scan. It's a section with maybe 3 or 4 columns of keywords: strategic planning, budget management, team leadership, Python, SQL. It just confirms at a glance that you have the must-haves and the nice-to-haves. It provides keyword density for the machine and quick scan clarity for the human.
Okay, now we get to the real meat of it, the professional experience section. This is where most people get so boring. Responsible for, duties included.
Responsible for is the death sentence for a resume. It's passive, it's weak. It sounds like you just showed up and managed not to get fired. We need action verbs. Strong, energetic words. Revitalized, accelerated, spearheaded, negotiated, transformed.
And we need to quantify everything we possibly can.
Always. Business cares about profit and numbers. The source gives a great, simple formula for this. The CORE method. Challenge, action, results.
Okay, walk us through a car example. Let's transform a boring bullet point.
Okay, the boring version is responsible for sales in the Northeast Territory. Exactly. Now let's use CRR. Revitalized stalled business in the Northeast Territory. That's the challenge. By implementing a new consultative sales strategy, that's the action, resulting in a 22% year-over-year sales gain. That's the result.
That is infinitely more powerful. It tells a story of success.
It proves you delivered value. It shows you're a problem solver. And I love the technique the author calls being specifically vague.
It sounds like a contradiction, doesn't it? But it's really a tease. It's a hook.
It is. It's a perfect hook. For example, a bullet point could say, personally salvaged 2 multi-million-dollar accounts on the verge of cancellation.
Whoa. The immediate question in my mind is, how did you do that?
Exactly. You just asked the question the interviewer is now guaranteed to ask. You gave the specific, impressive result, save the accounts, but you were vague about the method. You've created a curiosity gap. Now they have to interview you to find out the rest of the story. You are controlling the narrative of the interview before you even walk in the door.
That is a brilliant psychological hook. Okay, we're coming into the home stretch here. We need to talk about the final polish and some of those database realities.
They have to circle back to garbage in, garbage out. The resume databases, the ATS, are hungry beasts. They digest text. And one of the biggest, most persistent myths is the one-page rule.
I hear this all the time. Keep it to one page. Recruiters are busy. Everyone says it.
For a human, reading a printed copy at a job fair, sure, brevity is good. But for the database, length doesn't matter. In fact, more relevant information actually increases your retrieval chances. The database doesn't get bored. It doesn't have a short attention span. It just digests text. If you have 10 years of relevant experience and skills, don't cut important keywords just to fit an arbitrary page limit.
So prioritize content and keywords over brevity, at least for the version you submit online.
Exactly. You can always bring a tighter one-page summary version with you to the actual interview.
What about education? Where does that section go on the resume?
It depends entirely on your career stage.
Yeah.
If you are a new graduate, your education is your biggest asset. It goes right at the top. If you have 15 years of experience, your experience is your asset. The education section goes to the bottom.
And there's a pro tip in the book. If you have a college degree, don't list your high school.
Yes, why not?
It's just redundant. But more than that, it can create unconscious bias. It dates you, or it can unintentionally signal dropout risk to some weird algorithm if it's not formatted correctly. It adds no value and has potential downside. Just list the degree. And if you are currently enrolled in a program, list it. Graduation anticipated 2027. It counts as a positive. It shows you are still in the R&D department of Me, Inc. And lastly, a really interesting idea. Endorsements. Can we really quote our performance reviews on our resume?
Absolutely, 100%. If your boss wrote in your annual review that you're the greatest single gain of the year, you should put that in your resume, in quotation marks. It's powerful third-party validation. It's not just you saying you are good, it's a manager, an official source saying it. It's social proof, and it's incredibly persuasive.
This has been a massive download of information. Let's just recap the core mission here, the action plan.
Okay, step one is the mindset shift. You are Me, Inc. You are a business selling a solution. You are not begging for a job. Step two is the research. You have to do the target job deconstruction. Know your customer better than they know themselves. Step three is to build the document using the architecture of success. The right format, loaded with keywords, powered by action verbs, and designed with a layout that survives that 6-second scan.
And I want to leave our listeners with a final provocative thought from the source material. We so often hear the advice, especially from well-meaning friends or family, just be yourself.
And Yate says that is just about the worst advice you can get in a job search.
He tells a great little story about a sign you might see in an office kitchen. Your mother doesn't work here. Pick up after yourself.
It's funny, but the deeper meaning is profound. When you saw that sign at your first job, or when you realized you couldn't wear pajamas to the office, or talk to your boss the way you talk to your friends, you realized something fundamental. You realized you couldn't just be yourself, the at-home version of yourself. You had to adapt. You had to construct a professional persona.
You weren't born a professional. You made yourself into one through learned behavior.
Exactly. This resume isn't just a document. It's the blueprint for that professional persona. It's the script for the role you are auditioning to play. So don't just be yourself. Be the best, most prepared, most solution-oriented version of yourself. Be the professional that survives and thrives.
That is a really powerful place to end. Listeners, taking the time to do this right, and it might take a week, it might take more, is the single best investment you can possibly make in the future of Me, Inc.
It pays the best dividends, without a doubt.
Thanks for diving deep with us. Now go fix that resume.
Good luck out there. You've got this.